Iron Curtain in March 1940. The American Iron Curtain in March 1946. Winston Churchill told a Missouri audience, "From Stettin in the Baltic to Trieste in the Adriatic, an iron curtain has descended across the continent. Behind that line lie all the capitals of the ancient states of Central and Eastern Europe. Warsaw, Berlin, Prague, Vienna, Budapest, Belgrade, Bucharest and Sofia. Today a new Iron Curtain is descending. It encloses the small Missouri town where Churchill gave his speech and all the great capitals of a great nation. Behind the Iron Curtain lie New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Chicago, Boston, Philadelphia and countless others. It covers a million streets and hundreds of millions of people. Its shadow passes over stores and factories, homes and schools. It is not a physical wall. There are, as of yet, no border guards with rifles waiting to shoot those wanting to leave. There are no watchtowers or leashed dogs keeping an eye on the inner frontier. It is a wall of words. A wall of laws, regulations and mandates. The 2012 Federal Register had 78,961 pages. There are 11 million words of Obamacare regulations alone. With so many regulations, everyone violates a few of them without even knowing it. Assemble all the millions of them together and you have a great wall that would dwarf anything in China. The American Iron Curtain is still made out of paper, but in time it will be made out of cement and iron. Tyrannies begin with paper, but end with metal. The state begins by imposing bureaucracy on a free people and ends by imposing tyranny on them. When they will not obey the paper, it resorts to steel, iron and lead. 4 decades after Churchill invoked the Iron Curtain, in his Evil Empire speech Reagan named the Soviet enemy as those who preach the supremacy of the state, declare its omnipotence over individual man, predict its eventual domination of all peoples of the earth. They are the focus of evil in the modern world, he said. Quoting C.S. Lewis, he warned that the greatest evil is conceived and ordered, moved, seconded, carried and minuted, in clear, carpeted, warmed, and well-lighted offices, by quiet men with white collars and cut fingernails and smooth-shaven cheeks who do not need to raise their voice. That is the struggle now before us. We do not fight men with nuclear missiles or red armies of freezing conscripts waiting to march through Europe. Instead we fight against an evil empire that has arisen in our cities and its red army of front groups that insinuate their ideas into every institution they take control of. Conservatives have lost the ability to lay out the stakes in the clear and simple language of a Churchill or a Reagan, to let the people know that they are not choosing between politicians, but choosing whether they will be able to have the car of their choice.
I've been keeping this building a secret forever now, but it seems all of Illinois is exploring it now. It's time for me to blow the lid. A 2.4 million square foot headquarters. Everything still inside. $1 billion empire in America, In a fantastic fashion, it all came crashing down. This building was the final nail in the coffin for Sears. In all my years of exploring, nothing compares to this building. It was the 1980s. Sears was at the top of the world, literally. The retail giant was looking out at the world from the top of the Sears Tower, the tallest building on Earth. But Illinois wasn't exactly the perfect state for a business. Sears wanted out, but Illinois politicians had something different in mind. After attending a ball game with the chairman of Sears, the governor of Illinois awarded Sears over $536 million in tax breaks, the largest package ever given to a company in Illinois. It was now the 90s. The small town of Hoffman Estates was chosen. Farms and cornfields were torn apart to begin construction on the Prairie Stone Business Park, with the new Sears headquarters to be the anchor. Hoffman Estates was going to be a boom town, and Illinois was going to double its money from the deal, or so they thought. The land was cheap, and plenty of corporations had moved out to the suburbs already. More than half the size of the Pentagon, the complex was self-contained. There were coffee shops, a hair salon, drugstore, travel agencies, auditoriums, gyms, a cafeteria, film production rooms, and entire stores in the building, even surpassing most shopping malls. The outside was like a nature preserve with ponds, wetlands, and prairies. The building would house each of Sears Holdings companies, which was quite a bit to say the least. Property taxes in the business park were frozen. It was called an Economic Development Area, or EDA. By 2012, the EDA had expired, and Sears was dying due to competitors such as Amazon and even Walmart.
If Sears were to leave Illinois, their 2.7 million square foot complex would be vacant. It would likely remain vacant for years to come. Let's be clear, we need to keep these 6,000 jobs in Illinois. The only way to do that is by extending the EDA. Everybody loses if Sears leaves Illinois.
Sears was clearly desperate, but for some reason, Illinois government officials renewed the EDA under conditions that a certain amount of employees stay in the building. So Sears continued on, but the parking lots were mostly empty by then. Sears just held on to the bare minimum of employees that the state had allowed to continue the EDA. The company was slowly decaying, and in 2018, Sears filed for bankruptcy. A company called Transformco, owned by Sears members, purchased the building in hopes to transform Sears one last time. At this point, most of the offices were abandoned after 2018. Transformco and a couple other corporations under it worked there up until 2020, when COVID-19 hit. Employees were sent home thinking they would one day return, but they never did. A couple small auctions were held. In that time, I had attempted to secure a deal to film the place, but suddenly, just like that, the building was sold for demolition. Little to nothing was auctioned off, and the new owner of the land rushed to get it demolished. Our world's timeline had shifted. The surge in AI and social media had given a rise to a new owner and a new empire. Data centers, powering the world of new technology. The profitability of these buildings was a no-brainer. The building was immediately taken over for demolition. I waited a couple months, filming 4 entire neighborhoods being taken over by the same thing, before I returned, hoping the doors would finally be open again. In fact, they were, and I was about to film one of the largest buildings in the entire world, with everything left behind.
Look at this big old parking garage.
We entered not knowing if security was present or not.
So this place was so huge that you could see right ahead of me they had something for salt storage up here. There's their old loading dock. There's probably plenty more of those.
There was a huge pond outside. This building was meant to be scenic for its workers.
Stay away close for the winter. There's security cameras.
All the way out there?
Yeah.
Yikes. So let's stay away from those.
But that means there's no power.
This would be a long journey. This building was towering, and it was a long walk that we were going to endure.
So I thought this one was locked.
Turns out it's not.
We walked into one of the reception centers, however, not much was to be seen. We initially thought the building would be emptied, however, we were shocked to discover every single office in this building had everything left.
We're in, dude.
Let's go.
You must have been the company that like rented this out. Oh, look at that. This one's got a bunch.
Yeah.
What are those locks? Bike locks? Yeah.
Huh.
Brand new bike locks.
There's like files in here and
Alright. I guess that's enough data for you to see if this thing's streaming